Hey everybody, welcome to TnSportsChat presented by Lehigh Valley Health Network. Along with Evan McCall, I'm Patrick Matsinko. Happy New Year. This is our first episode of 2020 and as Times News Media Group, as we talked about earlier.
Yeah, a lot of changes.
Yeah, a lot of changes.
Hopefully you'll notice on this video we've got a new little intro from Lehigh Valley Health Network. A lot of changes to sports chat, but hopefully some more good information for everybody.
Yeah, hopefully you stuck with us through the intro and are actually watching the video. So Happy New Year. As we started last year, just kind of breaking down winter sports, sort of going sport by sport more so. This is our boys basketball edition of TN Sports Chat, and we certainly have a lot to cover, a lot of ground to make up, I guess, since the last time we did it.
Yeah, lots happening, personal, individual milestones, teams are qualifying. We have a couple of teams already qualified for district play. So yeah, we got lots going on in boys basketball. What are we going to start with?
Yeah, and I think, I guess maybe one of the hottest team, maybe with one of the hottest players in the area is Marion boys. They were undefeated until recently, a loss to a very good Williams Valley team. The Colts,
11-1.
Yeah, I mean it's been a phenomenal start to the season. That's a game that was, I think, 72-65.
They score a lot of points. Man.
Yeah, they've gone over 80 twice this year. So they hit 79 once. They're averaging over 70.
Oh,
yeah, I think
70
so.
now. Okay, I thought it was in the 60s. Yeah, so it's right around there.
It's been a really impressive start. Obviously, with Tyler Fritz. One of our player of the year, who is now also
years ago
closing in on Marion's all-time scoring record.
Yeah, and he's 9 away from tying, 10 away from breaking as we record this on Thursday. Marion plays against Schuylkill Haven tonight, so there's a pretty good chance that he's going to set the school all-time scoring record tonight. And we say that because he is averaging 30 points a game, right around 30 points a game this year, which is phenomenal. Rod Heckman looked it up for us. The last Times News area player to finish the season averaging 30 points a game was Joe Gower of Lehigh, way back when, in the 90s, I guess, 1990s, when Joe did it. So it's something that hasn't happened very often.
No, and he's been getting also kind of contributions from a couple of other different guys there. So it's not just
it's not just
Tyler.
the Tyler Fritz
Yeah.
show. I mean, he's the guy you think of, but they have 2 other players averaging double figures: Chris Ristic and Dante Augusti. Dante Augusti was our Times News Lehigh Valley Health Sport Network Player of the Week this week. Tyler Fritz won it a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
So Marion is getting some point production up and down the lineup.
Yeah, so definitely a lot to look forward to for the Colts, who also seem to have the division title pretty well in hand. It certainly seems. Yeah,
the Division III, they suffered their first division loss against Williams Valley, as you said, but they're still in pretty good shape in the division. Look like definite front runners,
or at least for a
qualify.
spot in the league playoffs.
Right.
So but obviously, again, like we mentioned, not the only highlight from around the area. In the time since we were last here, we've had 2 area players go over 1,000 points for their careers.
Yeah, right around Christmas time. Justin Hosier of Palmerton got his December 23rd against Saucon Valley, and then a week later, Braden Knobloch of Tamaqua scored his 1,000th point against Pottsville, and that was December 30th.
Yeah, and you look at obviously those individual successes, but they've also been coupled with great team success, for what Tamaqua and Palmerton have been doing. So you look at where the Raiders are in the district standings, and you look at where the Bombers are in the district standings. And as we mentioned with Marion, also in terms of being kind of in a race for a league playoff spot, both are in position, they're kind of jockeying for position for league. And, league playoff spots in the Colonial and Schuylkill League, but in districts, you look at where Tamaqua and Palmerton both sit. Right?
Yeah, Marion and Tamaqua are the only two times as boys teams that have already secured a district berth because they've got their 11 wins, and Palmerton's knocking on that door. They have 10 wins right now. They're off to a 10-4 start. So all three of those teams have really done well this year.
Yeah, and Palmerton's been pretty hot as of late. Won 3 straight, I believe, and Justin Hosier, obviously, we mentioned about his 1,000th point. And he's one of the Bombers' leading scorers, but he missed a few games, and it seemed like kind of during that time, Cody Kratzer, certainly kind of took over and led them had the hot hand. I covered them against Northern Lehigh. He put up 30. He put up 30 again in a different game, and then he helped them beat Northwestern with 27. So,
right.
Yeah.
Averaging,
Close to
almost,
20, I think. Yeah.
Over 19 points a game. In the top 5 in the area scoring. Both of them are in scoring average. Both Hosier and Kratzer are both in the top 5 among Times News area scorers. So they've got a really nice 1-2 punch there.
Yeah, and I know just even kind of talking to Coach Termini after last week's win over Northern Lehigh, he really liked some of the other contributions that they were getting from the Ryan Kings, the Tyler Chrismans, the Austin Whites. There are just so many other guys there that are also kind of playing a role and helping Palmerton kind of add that depth, I guess, which is going to be critical here as we get deeper into the second half of the season.
Right, and we talked about Marion, Tamaqua, and Palmerton being the 3 top teams we have in our coverage area, and it's no coincidence that all of them have 2-3 kids right around double figures in double figures, because it's really hard to win without one score. Braden Knobloch's a great scorer at Tamaqua, averaging over 18 points a game. We talked about Tyler Fritz, but those teams don't win without other scores. And Tamaqua's got Louis Gregor. He's averaging over 15 points a game this year.
Baron Stauffenberg?
Right around 10 points a game. So, these good teams are getting contributions up and down the lineup is what we're seeing.
Yeah, it's just always one of those things that obviously these kids, we see them kind of in the box scores, kind of on stat lines and things like that. But there are also, still a lot of other guys that, it's just, kind of take a little bit of pressure off, kind of ease that burden, and they seem to be doing a really, really good job of that. So.
And in addition to those 3 teams who are pretty much locks for districts, if they're not already a lock, we have a bunch of teams right around the 500 mark. And they're going to have an interesting last 3-4 weeks of the regular season coming up.
Yeah, and this is kind of a fun time, because you start to look at the matchups and you start to kind of plot out schedules and different things along those lines, and that these are the games that they're going to need if they're going to punch those tickets. Maybe it's a team that's looking to kind of break into a league, get into a league playoff situation, or a team that's hopefully trying to get into districts. So
right, Northwestern is a 7-7 team right now. Need 4 more wins to qualify for districts. I think Panther Valley's 8-6. So they're 3 wins away from qualifying for districts. So you got teams like that are kind of on the bubble right now. Lehigh, I think, has 6 or 7 wins right now. So they're kind of on that fence where every game the rest of the way is really important.
Absolutely, yeah. And those are going to be just kind of some of the fun storylines to follow here as we move through the middle to the end of January and then into February, obviously, where we'll kind of see how some things shake out early in the month. But and individually, you kind of mentioned Panther Valley. Brandon Stilatino having a great season for the Panthers.
Kind of stepping into Rini Figueroa's shoes.
Our player of the year last year.
Right.
Yeah.
3-point shooting, kind of running the offense a little for the Panthers. They're still scoring a ton of points. Panther Valley. They lost a couple of key players, Figueroa and Turner from that team last year, but they didn't change their style.
No.
And once again, winning record. Batting for districts, Stilatino's averaging almost over 16 points a game. So they've got a bunch of weapons there.
And push Marion earlier this season. Just kind of thinking about a game like that where
double-figure lead in the 4th quarter, couldn't hold on. They've been playing well. We've got Weatherly Struggling. They're going to need to pick it up to qualify for districts, but Scotty Zolson's playing really well for them now. He's one of the leading scorers in the area, right around 17 points a game. He's playing really well for them.
Yeah, and the kids who, obviously is, certainly hoping for, maybe, obviously this isn't their season, but, you're still kind of looking at maybe what's ahead for maybe a team like that and, kind of seeing what the future holds. Yeah, so, but definitely a lot to look forward to individually and team-wise here as we kind of come down the stretch.
Yeah, some big games next week. I know Tamaulipas and Pottsville are playing next week. That's a big game as far as the Schuylkill League Division I race. Is kind of a 3-team race. Pottsville, Blue Mountain, and Tamaulipas for the 2 playoff spots. So that's going to be a big game next week. I know we've got Northwestern, Northern Lehigh girls, boys doubleheader later in the week. Next week will be a big game. So we got a lot to look forward to next week as well.
Yeah, Northern Lehigh is a team that I saw against Palmerton, and the Bulldogs might be struggling record-wise, but when you look at the number of games they've had decided by a point under 10, 10 points or less, it's pretty remarkable. Jeff Miller does a really good job with those kids, and it's kind of a situation where I don't think it really matters who they're playing, but you do kind of throw out the records. And they took Palmerton to the wire, fell 58-57. It's just one of those situations where they've been in so many games, they just haven't had the ball bounce their way. But,
and there's still time for them to turn it around. So, and like you said, they're in every game. You can start winning 1 or 2 of those, and you get on a hot streak. You win 5, 6 in a row, 4 or 5 in a row even, and you're right back in the district playoff race.
Absolutely. So hopefully we have more on that the next time that we join you. Emmett, do you have anything else?
No. That's about it.
Thank you again for joining us on TN Sports Chat presented by Lehigh Valley Health Network. For Emmett McCall, I'm Patrick Matsinko.